My name is Eugene and I am the Senior Account Manager for a company called TechWise Solutions, where our focus is distribution of cybersecurity solutions into sub-Saharan Africa. Some of our solutions include things like Bitdefender, Acronis, Immuniweb, and the solution that we're discussing today, the Zecurion Data Leak Prevention solution. So with regards to Zecurion, it is an on-prem solution where it can sit within your network and integrate into various services on your network, like your Exchange server, your network shares, whether you're using TMG or if you're not using Exchange and you're using a different mail server. So you can actually use Zecurion to integrate into these various services. You can also use Zecurion to install as an endpoint agent on your endpoint machines. If you're installing as an endpoint agent, it gives you a lot more control and a lot more scope where you can intercept traffic from various different channels, whether those channels are your internet channels, your email channels, messenger services like WhatsApp or Teams. If someone is trying to print that information, if someone is trying to copy information onto a memory stick, and even if that information is found on that local hard drive, we're able to not only intercept, but also prevent that information from being taken outside the network. So as an example, I've got two policies here: credit card information leakage and ID number information leakage. And then on these various different channels, what I can do is I can either allow or deny that traffic from happening completely. I can also notify the user. So if they breach this various policy, we can have a pop-up go on their screen and let them know that they've breached that policy. We can also block the user. So if this is a very, very serious policy that is being breached, we can log them off of their device and block them from logging back on into our network, where they can potentially cause more damage. With regards to policies, and again, trying not to get too technical, there's a host of different conditions that you can set, where you can set and/or criteria over a host of different matching criteria. You can also create dictionaries or fingerprints, where those dictionaries can be used either with natural words, regular expressions, or even certain number sets or number strings. So as an example, I have a credit card policy here that will detect any credit card number or any number set that follows these two patterns. But I can also use a regular expression as well, or several regular expressions to achieve that same goal. As you can see, for demo purposes over here, I've just enabled a credit card information leakage and ID number information leakage. We could also do some fancy things like determine if someone is trying to take a photo of the screen using a camera device. So this specific policy will actually look at the screen itself or use the webcam and determine if what I'm holding up is a camera device. And it will then take a snapshot of the person that's trying to take that photo, as well as take a snapshot of what was on that desktop at that point in time. So it gives you an indication of whether that person was trying to exfiltrate data. You can also plug directly into several devices, whether you're wanting to plug into the microphone, the webcam, keyboard, clipboard, screen. Obviously, if you're doing something like that, that would be dependent on your company policies and procedures. And again, that's not something that you have to do, even though the feature is there. You're also able to create certain policies around applications. So whether you want to block or allow or even graylist certain applications and dictate what applications are allowed and not allowed on your network. So from a technical point, that's kind of what the settings look like for the solution. And then go to my favorite part, which is your reporting. This dashboard over here is fully customizable. So you can move things and set things up the way that you want to view them. But you can also add custom widgets that are going to show you just the data that is important to you. So you're not going to have to look through tons and tons of information. You can just go and look at whatever information might be important to you. You can see we've got top offenders for the week, and you'll see there's this Eugene guy who's got 4 high severity events that have triggered. So if we go into this, you can see that those events include ID numbers and credit card numbers that have gone out. You also are able to break things down per channel, so you can see where information is being sent. One of the policies I have is a log all policy, just to gather information. But again, you can go into these and actually have a look and see at a deeper level what information is being sent out. We then have our user behavior analytics, where we will have a list of employees that are being monitored with Zecurion. You'll also have a risk level. Obviously, in the real world, a risk level like this would be fairly serious, and that person would probably have needed to be fired well, over there already. You get a productivity index, so that's going to let you know how productive a person is. Take into account that this is looking at usage on a computer. So obviously people that go out and see people for physical meetings, do other tasks like filing, whatever it might be, things like that do need to be taken into account. Activity index, so that's going to show you whether that person's network related activity is higher or lower than it usually is, which are usually indicators of people that are acting or behaving differently. It's going to show you the number of policies that are breached, as well as what that person's emotional state is at any given moment in time. And I'll touch on that and how that works in a second. You also have the number of high severity, medium severity, and then low severity events that have triggered. And if you're looking at this list, you can see that this individual over here has had 21 high severity events, which is quite serious. If we go into the person, we can get a lot more detail. So as an example, you'll see over here where we have our risk level dynamics. That's going to show you a risk on a day-to-day basis. Again, no one's risk level should ever look like this. Obviously, I've set up policies so that I can trigger them and we can get these this data. But in an actual environment, something like this is going to be quite serious. Incidents. So this is going to let you know not just which policies are breached or the number of breaches that exist on those policies, but also on which channels these policies are breached, which gives you an idea if everything is breaching on the email channel. It lets you know that that's where you need to beef up or tighten up your security. But certainly if we have a look at this credit card and we click on this, you can see that I've sent out an email to myself with a credit card number. So if we go into this, you can see that I sent this from my email address to my Gmail address. In the body of the email, it's got the credit card number. If there's quite a lot of text, you can use the analysis log to actually identify which words were found, which policy it found those words under, or which condition it matched it under. You can also see over here, I sent out another email, but over here in the body of the email, there wasn't actually a credit card number. It was an image that was attached. And even though that image, it's sent in an image, the Zecurion solution is still able to inspect what's inside that image and identify the credit card number inside that image. Emotions. So this is my actual emotional profile, keeping in mind that I'm in sales, and also it's the end of the quarter, so emotions generally run high at that point in time. This is going to show you the emotional state of that person at any given moment in time, whether they're happy, sad, surprised, anxious, angry. And I mean, some of those emotions may be related, especially if you're seeing a lot of negative emotions, may be related to someone that's disgruntled, they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing from a cybersecurity perspective, but also from a training or an HR perspective. You know, if you have someone that's dealing with your clients incorrectly, they're using the wrong terminology, the wrong words, or even if you need to offer that person training, you're able to use Zecurion to obviously achieve those goals. What it does is it's looking at the words and phrases you're using in your communication, and it's building a profile based on that. So if we just look, let's say, at the last 24 hours, that's sort of going to give you an idea of the different emotions through the communications that I've sent. You have a profile. So this is quite nice, where you can create profiles based on a person. So you can see I've created a profile based on myself, and also a profile based on one of the other staff members. And obviously, I'm acting within 100% of how I normally act on the network. So where I'm logging in from, the amount of communication that I send in a day, whether I'm logging in from a different location, whatever that might be. And that's going to let you know whether I'm behaving in the same manner that I usually behave in, or if I'm behaving in the same manner that someone else behaves in, or if I'm behaving differently. This is generally a good indicator if you're matching to the person itself. If they start behaving differently than what they usually do, this is going to give you an indication. And obviously, if my behavior pattern starts dropping below what it usually is, then maybe I'm doing something that I don't normally do and that I shouldn't be doing. It's also going to give you anomalies. So whether you're speaking to new contacts, whether you're logging in from different locations, whatever those anomalies are, and it's going to let you know those anomalies at the top there as well. Working hours. So this is going to give you an idea of what my productivity is. You can actually see I've listed that over the last 14 days. So it's going to give you whether it's up or down or it's consistent. It's going to let you know how much time I've been productive at my PC, how much time I've been non-productive. And over here you can see a little chart. So my productive time is sitting at 38.4%. My inappropriate use of PC is 3.9, neutral time 2.4, but it gives you an idea of whether that person or what they're doing. And this is all based essentially on what applications they're using. And these are the different categories that I've set below, what websites they're going to. Again, these are all categorized, but you can also have a look at those applications over here. You can see, well, Spotify, that's definitely not a work-related item. So we might want to put that under a new category being streaming services, and set that as unproductive. Create that, and that's then going to categorize that for later use. And you can do exactly the same thing with websites as well. So you can go through which websites are being visited and obviously set those websites as either productive or non-productive. It's also going to let you know arrival, departure times, as well as a timesheet. So for example, if we look at the 31st, which is today, I've arrived at work at 7:42. And the last track time was 10 o'clock, so it's showing there. That will obviously change through the day, but if you look at the historic stuff, that's going to sort of let you know arrival and departures. Behavior analysis. So this is really an extension to your behavior profile. We're looking at mass events. So whether the person is sending a large volume of emails, deleting a large volume of files, whatever it might be, it's going to give you an activity index and up or down, that's going to give you an indication whether you need to be looking deeper at what someone is doing. Connection map, this is probably one of my favorite features, because you're monitoring pretty much every single channel, communication channel, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's HTTP, whether it's email, Skype, Telegram, whatever it might be. You're able to monitor just for different severity events. You're able to monitor whether those contacts are internal or external, and obviously adjust your period. But now what you can do is you can say, well, Eugene is busy speaking to partner link at Bitdefender, which we know he shouldn't be speaking to, but also at the same sense, this Bianca person is also speaking to them. And well, we want to know what they're saying so we can go into this and get an idea of what the communication is between those parties. So generally, if you have any conspiracy or any misbehavior and you have more than one person involved, it's fairly easy using Zecurion to be able to identify all those links and all those people that are involved in that. And then all events is exactly that. It's just going to log every single event and details. So this is going to pull directly from Active Directory, where you'll be able to see who is who within your organization. But it's also going to identify any linked accounts. So as an example, I've used these different accounts, whether that's my Facebook account, my Gmail account, or my actual work email account. And any account that I'm logging into from this machine is going to link over here and let you know which accounts this individual is using. But that's essentially the Zecurion solution in a nutshell. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day further, and we will chat soon.